We made it through. Oh, I don't know how, but we did. We're up. We're alive. We're here. Welcome here to my Crown Jewel review. I'm going to do this to the best of my ability because Conman is running off of barely any sleep. That early morning came very early, and he made it, though. We're still alive. We got through it. But we were watching Crown Jewel from Perth, Australia, and I just gotta say, I love this show. I thought this show was awesome. From start to finish, I really don't think there was many missteps. We'll talk a little bit along the way of maybe some matches that I thought could have gone a little bit differently. But overall, I'm just thrilled with how the pay-per-view came together. The Australian crowd, first and foremost, was hot as we expected them to be. Like, shout out to Australia. You guys showed up, you showed out, you were loud all night long, and it didn't matter who was in the ring. It could be somebody from Australia or somebody from, well, not down under. You guys were loud for them, so kudos to you. But there was 5 matches on the night. We are going to start things off with Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed, which kicked off the show in an Australian street fight. Look, I thought that this match was going to go in a similar fashion to how it went, and honestly, I'm glad it went exactly like that. It seemed like we were going to maybe get something with Jimmy and Jay and Roman and further the Bloodline story, and that is exactly what happened. It was just Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in a one-on-one match, but because of the Australian street fight rules, that means that there was, well, no disqualifications, and anybody can interject themselves into this matchup. Braun Breaker decided to do just that, and he speared the ever-loving hell out of Roman Reigns. Like, we continue to tease this idea of Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. It's the battle of the spears. You've got the future of WWE in Braun Breaker, and you got the guy who held down the head of the table for so long in Roman Reigns. They're building that up to be a big match, and honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if it is on the table for possibly, it might be Royal Rumble, could be WrestleMania. But anyways, back to the match. Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. After Bronson Reed had some help from Braun Breaker, that means that the Uso had to come on in. The Usos tag team, they came on down, Jimmy and Jay, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do, right? They were there to try to help out Roman Reigns. They're there for family. It seemed like they've got their ideas and their ideals set in the right direction. Roman Reigns needed help. Jimmy and Jay were there. But while they thought that that's what they were supposed to do, is go down and help out Roman Reigns, Roman apparently had some other things in mind. It seemed like Roman didn't want any help from Jimmy or Jay. He just kind of wanted to go on his own. And it seems like if Roman isn't able to do it his way, then it's not the right way. And honestly, Roman might be onto something because Roman Reigns ended up losing this match to Bronson Reed. This was after Jimmy and Jay came down, and then Jay accidentally speared Roman Reigns through a table. That was a wild moment because I truly thought that it was going to be Jimmy Uso who took out Roman Reigns, maybe with a super kick or something of similar through a table or something that rendered Roman Reigns out of the match, right? Donezo, no longer able to continue. I thought that was going to be Jimmy. Didn't happen. It was Jay, it's different because it feels like Roman Reigns is trying to get through to Jimmy right now. It's almost like Roman Reigns sees Jey Uso understands. He gets that he understands it's family above all. It's family first and nobody else matters except for the family. But Jimmy Uso's out here trying to help out LA Knight and trying to do things his way. And you can't do things your way. You got to do things the Bloodline way. And Roman is right in this case. The Usos lost on Monday Night Raw. Now Roman lost at Crown Jewel. They're not on the same page. And that reared its ugly head at the very, very end. After Bronson Reed, the Tribal Thief, steals a win, walking out there with Paul Heyman by his side, we cut back to the ring. We see Roman, Jimmy, and Jay all seated in the ring, looking very confused as to how they got here, how the once dominant Bloodline faction is sitting here with back-to-back L's. And Roman was pissed. Roman was done. He's absolutely livid with the Usos, saying that he doesn't want to see them until Christmas. Now, I don't know if this is just Roman saying, yeah, I'm peacing out until Christmas time, or if this is actually going to be something where the Usos are trying to get a hold of Roman Reigns and they simply can't. If Roman is still going to be around TV and the Usos are going to try to interact and he's going to say, I don't want to see you until Christmas. Get the F out of my way. Regardless of what happens with that story, I'm invested, and we know that WWE is far more entertaining when the Bloodline story is telling family drama. And if we can get another family drama story with the Bloodline that maybe helps get Jimmy Uso to the next level, to like where Jay is at, to where Roman is at, even if we can get Jimmy to take a couple steps forward, that Bloodline faction feels so much more dangerous than it already is. There's also a possibility that we could see this lead to Jay and Jimmy needing to prove themselves to Roman again, and maybe that is the Usos reuniting the entire Bloodline family. Maybe somehow, with the whole MFT stuff going on over there on SmackDown, maybe Jimmy and Jay try to bring them back, and maybe that costs, I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing right here, but whatever it is, whatever the story is going to be, I'm invested. Roman Reigns does not want to see the Usos right now. He wants nothing to do with them until Christmas. So what does that mean for WWE from now until Christmas? We got War Games along the way. Is Roman going to be a factor in that? There's a lot of questions. But I don't want to gloss over this too much. Bronson Reed pinned Roman Reigns. That is huge. That is massive. It is like only the second time in like 5 years Roman Reigns has been pinned or something ridiculous along those lines. Roman Reigns does not eat pinfalls, and he just put over Bronson Reed. So congratulations to Bronson, or Jake TV, if you will. That is a huge win for him, and it's going to push him up that card. It's going to establish him as like a co-main eventer, almost main eventer, upper mid card for sure. It's huge for Bronson Reed. But next up was the Crown Jewel Women's Championship match. We had Tiffany Stratton up against Stephanie Vaquer in what was a short 10-minute match, but honestly, I think it checked all the boxes. The only thing that I have concerns around is that this has become a common theme with Tiffany Stratton matches on pay-per-views. For some reason, they don't seem to go much longer than 10 minutes, and I don't know if it's like a lack of trust with her at that position. I don't know if it's a conditioning thing or if it's just simply WWE doesn't want to overexpose anybody at that point. I don't know what the reasoning is, but I feel like this match could have gone on for another 10 minutes, honestly. If it reached the 20-minute mark, if we had a little bit of a slower burn, a little bit of a slower build-up, that might have reached just a huge peak. But regardless, the 10-minute match that they put on was very entertaining, and back and forth in the ring. In the end, Stephanie Vaquer hitting that beautiful spiral tap, which was so stiff on Tiffany Stratton, was a great finish. Again, could have seen this match going a little longer. Not trying to complain, but like it felt like with all the other matches, with only 5 matches on the card, there really shouldn't be just one match going for 10 minutes. It shouldn't be less than 15. But Stephanie Vaquer with a big win. This is the right call, absolutely. I am personally excited to see if we are going to see Tiffany Stratton start to turn heel a little bit. If we're going to see her change her character, if you will. Because a loss like this for Tiffany Stratton, after barely being beat this entire year, or maybe not even being beat this entire year, a loss for Tiffany there could absolutely unravel her character. And if I'm guessing what her future is, it's no longer as a babyface. I just get mad CM Punk vibes when I look at Tiffany Stratton in the position that she is in. Fans like her. Fans are behind her. She's very talented, and fans want to see her continue be champion. But something needs to change. We either need a fresh new story or we need a fresh new character for Tiffany. And when we look at the overall landscape of WWE, there is so many more credible baby faces to go up against Tiffany Stratton than there are heels right now. She's beat most of the heels that are available to face her. So if you can go and get Tiffany Stratton over as a heel, if you could flip the switch on her, that opens up so many possible matches. And the thing is, Tiffany Stratton has been screaming it's Tiffy time for the better part of a year now, and she believes she's unbeatable. Well, now she knows that's not the case. Tiffany lost to another quote-unquote rookie, right? Tiffany lost to Stephanie Vaquer. If you're able to now get into Tiffany Stratton's head, if she's able to like go to a deep, dark place, say that she's got to be desperate to prove that she is still at the Tiffy top, might be a fun story. Anyways, that's my prediction. I think we are going to see Tiffany Stratton turn heel pretty soon. But regardless, big win for Stephanie Vaquer. She looked great. The titles look great on her. That one title is so damn big, though. Like, she could barely hold it up. Regardless, so thrilled for her, and she's having a hell of a year. But now, how do I even start to talk about this one? Where to begin? John Cena, AJ Styles, just one of the best nostalgia-based matches I think I've ever seen. There is something so special about John Cena and AJ Styles in that ring. However they have done it through the years, they are able to connect with the crowd in a way that nobody is able to connect with that crowd. They can get the crowd in the palm of their hands for anything. But what was even better than having two icons face each other one last time was the fact that this was WWE, Mr. WWE and John Cena versus Mr. TNA and AJ Styles. AJ literally came out to the ring rocking his old TNA gear. I have the nostalgia, man, the chills that I got from seeing AJ walk down. It just has me wondering, in this next year of AJ Styles, he should return to TNA, right? He should be the guy to go to TNA. And if I'm looking at possible storylines, him being the guy to go to TNA and take that title from Trick Williams, being Mr. TNA, saving TNA, bringing the title home, and then eventually maybe putting over some other person in TNA. Oh, wouldn't that be a great story? Wouldn't that be a great moment to see him hold on to that championship one last time? If he was repping the entire brand, oh man, I really want to see it. But in terms of the match itself, this thing was so fun. John Cena and AJ Styles both reached deep into their bag, into whatever rivals that they have had through the years, and they broke out their finishers. John Cena hit a freaking skull-crushing finale, an RKO, a choke slam, a tombstone pile driver. I might be missing other moves in there. The crowd was chanting for him to hit a 619. And then on the flip side, you have AJ Styles breaking out moves from TNA legends like Samoa Joe with the Coquina Clutch, like Christopher Daniels' Winged Angels or Angels Wings, or I forget the name of the move. That's on me. That's hand up. That's hand up accountability right here. That's on me. And AJ Styles even hit a last call paying homage to James Storm, although I thought it was a Sweet Chin Music, but the TNA connection, yeah. Anyways, he paid homage to freaking James Storm. But the best part of this entire match, the moment that is going to live rent-free in my head, and it was a moment that just touched my heart, it was when John Cena hit the Sister Abigail onto AJ Styles, paying homage to Bray Wyatt. I think there was not a dry eye in that crowd. Seeing everybody put up their flashlights, it was a special moment, and it literally, it made me feel some sort of way. In wrestling, you have these connections to wrestlers, and when they pass away early, you never lose that connection. You truly don't. And it was just such a special moment seeing what they did for Bray. And also credit again to this Australian crowd. You guys knew the drill. You heard the assignment. You understood it, I should say. You put your phones up in the air. It was so classy. I think I'll go out on a limb and say that John Cena versus AJ is my favorite match I've watched this year. Now, I don't think it's the best match from an in-ring standpoint, okay? I'm not going to get into an argument about that right now, but I think that was my favorite match. There was so many moments that I just found myself drawn right into everything that they were doing, and every time that they hit a move, whether it be the skull-crushing finale, whether it be an RKO, whether it be going for the 619, you name it, I just loved how that whole match was put together. The vibes were real, and it was just such a feel-good moment, especially right from the get-go. AJ Styles getting announced as Mr. TNA, perfect. I think the result was ever really in question. Nobody thought John Cena was going to lose back-to-back matches after losing to Brock Lesnar. He needed to beat AJ Styles going into these last 4 matches, and AJ Styles is going into his retirement run in 2026. So this made a lot of sense. It just worked. Everything about this worked. And then we had a great moment at the end with John and AJ raising each other's hands. Just well done to everybody involved. What does this mean for John Cena? What is next for him? Well, we now know his final 4 dates. He's in Boston. He's going to be at the Madison Square Garden show. He's going to be at Survivor Series. And then he's going to be finishing off his career at Saturday night's main event. At least I think it's Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C. I am going to be lucky enough to be there for his final 2 appearances. I am going to Survivor Series, and I'm going to John Cena's last match in Washington, D.C. I'm not ready to say goodbye, but if this is one of the final matches that we get from John, which it is, he's only got 4 more, it was something special. Thank you, John. But then we had to take a giant deep breath, exhale, try our best to let that one go, because it was incredible. We now have a tag team match. Australia's Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. The crowd was hot for Rhea Ripley, and we knew that they were going to be. I just was a little nervous coming out of that last match, going into this one, if the crowd was going to die out, if they weren't going to be as invested in the actual matchup as it was taking place. But no, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. They were straight up into it. This had some good back and forth action that basically focused in on Kairi Sane not really wanting to do it, but also starting to just listen to Asuka. Asuka. The abuse is absolutely getting to her, and there's no question anymore that Kairi Sane is held captive under the thumb of Asuka. But this match was just essentially there to give the crowd a fun moment with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. I truly thought we were going the opposite direction here. I thought that this was going to be building up the story of the Kabuki Warriors and trying to move them forward up the card, whether it be going towards the tag team titles or maybe building Asuka up to be a challenger for Stephanie Vaquer's World Heavyweight title. And truth be told, I don't think we got any closer to that. I think the story is developing between Asuka and Kairi Sane. If anything, Asuka's going to become more abusive to Kairi moving forward because Kairi did eat the pinfall here from Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Like, there's a very real chance that Kairi needs to be keeping her head on a swivel here. Just really felt like we were going to build up Asuka and Kairi Sane to reach the next level. And honestly, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley didn't need that win, but the Australian crowd did, right? Like, the Australian crowd, who was completely behind Roman earlier in the night, they saw Roman lose. There was some moments there that the fans wanted to cheer for a certain someone who ended up eating the L. So yeah, this worked for the hometown crowd, right? Getting the Australian the dub, it would have worked there, and it did. So yeah, I don't know what else to say here. Rhea Ripley picks up the win. It was a good moment. Then the last match, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins in first of all, Seth Rollins is the best troller of all trolls in the history of trolls when it comes to pro wrestling. That bro took snippets of his gear that he had when he faced Cody Rhodes in those other 3 matches and put it all along the side of his tights. He's holding the ghost of Cody past. The ghosts of Cody's past or something like that. I don't know. Okay, whatever. But what a build for this match. What a great way to present it. Going on last, of course, but also it felt like it was on the level of like a Royal Rumble, a SummerSlam, or even a WrestleMania main event. It was very, very well done. The hype going in, the 2 characters, what was on the line for this, and the fact that we knew, or at least we thought we knew, that Rollins had no help here tonight. He was not getting any help from Braun Breaker or from Bronson Reed or from Paul Heyman. He was not going to get any love or support. He had to do it on his own. He had to prove that he could get it done on his own. And now, I wonder what's next now that he did get it done on his own. Because he easily just won over Paul Heyman. He easily won back over Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. He beat Cody Rhodes. Sure, there's an asterisk next to it because he beat him by punching him in the face with a Rolex. The same Rolex that Cody Rhodes gifted him at WrestleMania 40, by the way. But he still won. Cody Rhodes lost. Seth Rollins is the Crown Jewel champion. Now, in my preview to this show with my predictions, I said that Rollins winning clean creates probably the least interesting story moving forward. I think I have to stay with that. If Rollins had lost, it would have created some really intriguing story, right? Can Rollins win back over Paul Heyman? Is Paul Heyman going to turn on him? What's going to happen with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed? That was a story to go in that direction, right? And then if Seth Rollins won via help, if he got help from the Vision or if he got help from somebody outside of the Vision, then it's the question, well, you couldn't beat him on your own. Can we still really get behind you? Even though you won, like, you didn't do it by yourself. So, like, are you really the man around here? I thought those 2 directions were far more interesting than Seth Rollins just beating Cody Rhodes. Now, he beat him. He punched him in the face with a watch. He wins the title. I wonder, though, if that's going to be a thing that Paul Heyman says, though. He's like, but you couldn't beat him clean. You couldn't beat him by yourself. And if he does something like that, then it continues to sow the seeds of doubt that are being planted there between Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. Because one day, I don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen. But Paul Heyman is going to turn on Seth Rollins. It is as a tale as old as time. Paul Heyman turns on the partner that he's with. He just does. He's going to look at Bronson Reed. He's going to look at Braun Breaker and say, I think that they can be world heavyweight champion one day. And he's going to go with them. Or at least he's probably going to go with them. Rollins knows he cannot trust Paul Heyman. He's been the one saying it for a long time. You can't trust Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's still that same snake there, Seth. So just be careful. Now, in terms of the finish of the match, Cody Rhodes did get hit with that Rolex, and then he eventually got hit with a super stomp from Seth Rollins, who jumped off the top rope. It was over at that point, and Rollins walks out with the win. So what did you think? Is this the right call? And were the results the right call here today? I want to know everybody's thoughts down in the comments below, because truthfully, I thought this show was just like, not perfect, but damn near perfect. It had everything you want to see at a WWE PLE, except for maybe like a big swerve of sorts. But the best part about there being no swerve is that all the story was told through the ring, in the ring, during the matchup. There was no outside stuff outside of really Roman Reigns with his issues with his family, right? There was no outside stuff. It was all about the story being told in the ring, and that is such a fresh feel for WWE. We didn't have to have all this sports entertainment stuff. That show got over on wrestling. So credit to everybody involved. They put on a hell of a show for us and made it well worthwhile waking up at 8 a.m. Well, I mean, I was up at 6 a.m. for this, my God, to get ready, but well worth watching a show at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe and let me know your rating down below because I give this, it's a high rating, a 9 out of 10. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon for more pro wrestling content. Oh, and by the way, I just completely forgot about this. I probably should have said this earlier. If you guys want to check out my Patreon, go on over, all right? Our reaction to the entire show. The entire show, every single match is uploaded over there for you guys in its entirety. That's what entire means. All right, peace out, guys. Get out of here. See you later.